CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I moved into a childhood home I found on the dark web for me and my friends to explore. We found journals since we were little kids, and there was the date of our own death. Alright, so this all started a few months ago, and honestly, I wasn't even planning on telling this story. I've debated on posting this to r/NOSLEEP for a while, because every time I try to explain it to someone, they just look at me like I'm making it up. But I swear, every word of this happened, and things are still not okay. Let me just take you back. So I'm 22, right? Pretty average dude. I work a remote IT job that I barely show up to, and when I'm not at work, I'm either gaming, watching weird horror channels on YouTube, like Here's My Story, or binging analog horror series at 3 a.m. when I should be sleeping. I've always been into creepy stuff, you know, the deep web, haunted houses, the whole urban legend rabbit hole. But this was different. It all started with a group Discord call. Me and two of my close friends, Tyler and Jaden, were just chilling on a Friday night. Tyler was screen sharing, digging around on some sketchy Reddit thread where people post links to weird hidden pages. Not full-on Silk Road level stuff, but like borderline creepy. Stuff like abandoned mall websites, fake streaming services with cursed videos, and backroom-style apartment listings. Then we found that link. It was just text. For sale. $0. Your childhood, if you remember it. The link led to a pitch-black page. All it said was, "Do you remember this place?" Underneath was a grainy Polaroid photo of a house. Gray shingles, busted white picket fence, some overgrown trees that looked like they hadn't been cut since the 90s. A cracked window on the second floor with a curtain slightly parted, like someone was watching, and I froze. Like deadass. I knew that house. "Yo, I swear I've seen this place before," I said. Jaden joked, "Bro, this looks like every creepy house in every horror movie." But I was serious. I remembered that exact window. I remembered being a little kid, standing on the sidewalk, looking up at it. Like deja vu, but deeper. The website had a button. Enter to reclaim. It didn't ask for a name, email, nothing. Just clicked, and then, boom, a Google Maps pin dropped into my downloads folder, somewhere in rural Maine, just outside a dead town called Blue Hollow. I Googled it. Barely any info. Population 800. Closest Starbucks was an hour away. I don't know what came over me, but I convinced Tyler and Jaden to road trip with me that weekend. We were bored, young, and stupid. Plus, I was already half convinced this was just some marketing gimmick for a horror ARG or something. We packed up, grabbed snacks from a 7-Eleven, and drove up from Boston. The whole way there, Jaden was filming everything on his phone, like he was making a TikTok documentary. We even joked about starting a YouTube series called Dark Web Digs, or some crap like that. But when we pulled up to the property, dude, it was real. Same exact house from the photo. same curtain, same cracked window, except there was something off. It wasn't just the creepy vibe. It was the fact that our names were scratched into the mailbox. Like literally. Tyler, Jaden, Alex, carved into the wood, like some messed up summer camp craft. I didn't remember ever doing that. None of us did. But Jaden, being Jaden, was hyped. Yo, this is perfect for content. We're gonna blow up after this. The front door was unlocked. We stepped inside, and the air hit me like mold and rot mixed with burnt plastic. It was quiet, like unnaturally quiet, the kind of silence where your ears ring because there's just nothing. But the place was furnished, not well, but lived in. Dusty couches, old CRT TV, photos on the walls. And here's the messed up part. Some of the photos were of us, from when we were kids. At first, we thought someone photoshopped them, but these were actual prints. They were faded, curled at the edges. I even found one of me, maybe age 6, in a red Power Rangers shirt. My mom used to have that exact one in her photo album. It's long gone now. Jaden found a room upstairs labeled Playroom. We walked in, and it was covered in scribbles, crayon drawings on the walls, torn teddy bears, and what looked like kid-sized bunk beds. There were 3. One with Alex written in marker across the headboard. It didn't make sense. My childhood home was in Florida. Tyler grew up in Oregon. Jaden was from New Jersey. We never met until college. But here's where it gets real twisted. Tyler opened a little toy chest in the corner. Inside were 3 leather-bound journals, like moleskins, each with one of our names on them. I grabbed mine and flipped through. It started off normal, like really normal. Entries from me dated from 2007, 2008. Pages written in messy little kid handwriting. Stuff like, "Today Jaden and I went to the woods and saw a deer. Tyler said he saw a man watching us, but I didn't see him. I think he's lying." We all just looked at each other like, what the hell is this? Jaden's hands were shaking. "Dude, this one says we buried something in the backyard." And then, on the very last page of my journal, in perfect black ink, like it was written yesterday, "You will die on October 18th, 2025. I felt ice crawl up my spine. I slammed the journal shut and just sat there. Tyler checked his. Same thing. Jaden too. All different dates. All in 2025. We laughed it off at first, trying to play it cool. But deep down, I was shaking. None of us said it out loud, but something about those journals felt right. Like they knew us. Like they'd been waiting. It was getting dark, and we didn't want to stay the night. But Tyler, of course, wanted to dig. Just to see what's in the backyard. We found a rusted old shovel by the shed and started digging where the journal hinted at. Right near this dead tree with no leaves and this weird buzzing sound coming from the trunk, like static. After maybe 30 minutes, Jaden hit something hard. A small wooden box wrapped in a garbage bag, sealed with duct tape. We opened it. Inside were 3 Polaroids. They looked new, crisp, not aged. Each one showed one of us, lying face down in a forest clearing, eyes wide open. Blood pooled under our heads, and behind us, in each photo, was a man in the distance. Same guy, pearl face, black hoodie, no eyes, just black holes. I threw up. I legit ran to the fence and puked. Jaden took one look and said we had to leave. Now, we jumped in the car and drove straight back to Boston without even speaking. All of us were too freaked out. When we got home, We decided to never talk about it again. Delete the footage, burn the journals. But here's the thing. I tried burning mine yesterday. It wouldn't burn. Like the pages blackened, but didn't catch fire. The ink started bleeding off the page like it was alive. And just now, just before I started typing this, I got a text from a number I don't know. It just said, "You forgot your memories." He hasn't. We didn't talk for 2 weeks after we left that house. Group chat, dead. Discord, silent. Even Jaden ghosted his own Instagram and YouTube, which was insane because that man posted literally every day. I'd catch myself checking his story like 10 times a day. Nothing but that gray ring. Tyler blocked my number altogether, said I was feeding into it. But every night since we left that house, I've had the same dream. I'm in the backyard again. The dead tree is swaying, even though there's no wind. There's static in the air, not just in my ears. I feel it under my skin, like my body is made of white noise. And he's standing there, not doing anything, just watching. Same black hoodie, face pale and too smooth. No eyes, no mouth, just a smear of a face, like someone tried to erase it and gave up halfway through. His head twitches, not like turning, twitching, like something's trying to stay still and failing. And then I wake up at exactly 3:33 a.m. every single time. No alarm, just that number glowing red on the clock, like it's mocking me. That went on for 13 nights straight. On night 14, I woke up with dirt under my fingernails. I swear to God. And not like a little dust, like packed in soil under every nail. My sheets smelled like mildew and wet leaves, and my feet covered in scratches. I don't sleepwalk, never have. I even checked my ring cam at the door. I didn't leave. But at 3:47 a.m., the motion sensor in my backyard went off. Just a single ping. I looked at the footage, and I wish I hadn't. For exactly 6 seconds, there was someone in my backyard, standing under the tree, just outside the light. You can barely see it unless you pause at the right second, but he's there. Same hoodie, same featureless face, same twitching head. He was facing my window. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Instead, I did something stupid. I went back into the journal. I told myself I burned it. I didn't. I hid it in the closet like an idiot, like hiding it would keep it from existing. But the journal was different now. Pages were filled that weren't filled before. And the ink, still wet. The newest page just had 4 words. "You went too far," followed by a sketch, crude, like it was drawn with a dull nail or something sharp and angry. The image showed the 3 of us, buried under the backyard, faces rotting, mouths stitched shut with thread. And above us, that man, arms wide, like he was welcoming something. I slammed it shut and called Jaden. No answer. I called Tyler, straight to voicemail. Then I checked Twitter. Jaden's name was trending, not for the reason I expected. Popular TikTok horror creator Jaden K missing since Friday. My blood went cold. The article said he'd been seen lost at a gas station in New Hampshire, just a few towns over from that cursed house. The CCTV footage showed him pumping gas, alone, looking over his shoulder repeatedly. The gas station worker said he looked like he hadn't slept in days, and kept mumbling something about a tree with a mouth. That same night, I got an airdrop on my phone while lying in bed. From unknown. The image that came through was low res, like an old Nokia flip phone photo, but it showed a forest clearing, a familiar one, and in the dead center was Jaden, or at least his body. He was face down, just like in the Polaroid, but now, in real time. The caption read, "One down." I dropped my phone and threw up in my bathroom sink. My hands were shaking so hard, I couldn't even unlock my front door. I wanted to run, just run somewhere, anywhere. But then I realized something. The scratch marks on my feet, the dirt under my nails. That wasn't a dream. I was back there, somehow. Either something brought me there, or something is dragging me out while I sleep. I needed answers, not closure, not comfort, just answers. So I went back, alone, back to Blue Hollow, back to that house. This time, the road there felt different, like I wasn't driving through New England. Trees were taller, sky darker. My GPS kept glitching, saying rerouting, even though I was going straight. And when I reached the house again, the curtain wasn't just slightly open anymore. It was wide open. There was a face watching me. I didn't even park. I left the engine running and walked up, phone light in hand, shaking like crazy. I stepped through the front door and immediately noticed the difference. The smell was worse. Not mold, not decay. Meat, raw, old, rotten meat. It hit the back of my throat and almost dropped me to my knees. The pictures were gone from the walls. Instead, every inch of space was covered in drawings, hundreds, thousands maybe, pages taped, stapled, nailed to every surface. All of them were of us, the three of us, in every state of death imaginable. Jaden hanged from a tree with the word "listen" carved into his chest. Tyler's throat opened like a second mouth, fingers reaching out of it. And me. Mine was blank, except for a date. October 18th, 2025. And a red circle where my heart should be. I walked into the playroom. It was cold. I mean freezing. My breath clouded in front of me. And the walls. The crayon was still there, but now it was layered with something else. Not ink, not crayon. Blood. Child-sized handprints everywhere. Smears. Names scratched in with fingernails. The journals were gone. In their place, there was a VHS tape, just sitting in the center of the room, on the floor. It had a single label, written in what looked like Sharpie. "Watch me or die." I didn't even hesitate. I found an old CRT in the corner, plugged it in with shaking hands, shoved the tape inside. The screen flickered to life, snowy at first, then clearer. It was footage of us, from years ago. We were kids, maybe 7 or 8, running around the woods near the house, laughing, playing hide and seek. It was us. I recognized the birthmark on Jaden's neck, Tyler's oversized hoodie. The footage panned to a shed, the one behind the house. We were standing in a circle around something struggling. The camera zoomed in. We had tied up another boy, his mouth duct taped, eyes swollen from crying, blood around his wrists. We were laughing. "I swear to you, I don't remember any of this." Tyler held something in his hand. A hammer. He brought it down. Once. Twice. Over and over. I turned off the TV and screamed. I wanted to claw my brain out, rip out my eyes. It wasn't us. It couldn't be us. But I saw it. I saw what we did. We didn't just find that house. We were always part of it. And whatever was haunting us wasn't evil. It was revenge. Jaden was gone. I tried calling Tyler one last time. This time he picked up. All I heard was static, then heavy breathing, then a whisper. "He's inside the tree now." The line went dead. I looked out the window. The dead tree was glowing, pulsing red from inside, and something was moving inside it. And what we find inside, you'll never forget it. There's no right way to describe what I saw from that window. The tree was breathing. Its bark expanded like lungs, inhaling something invisible, and with each pulse, the red glow underneath shimmered like something was trying to escape, or worse, trying to be born. I stood at the window, too long. I know that now, because after about a minute of staring, I swear I could hear a heartbeat. Not mine, not human. It was coming from the tree. Thick, wet, wrong. I didn't want to go out there. Everything in my body screamed run. But the kind of scream that doesn't make a sound. It just rattles in your bones and vibrates up your spine until your brain is numb. But I had to know. Jaden was already gone. Tyler was slipping. Something was tying us all to this, and it was in that tree. I grabbed the same rusted shovel we used when we first dug up the Polaroids. Its handle was splintered, covered in something dry and flaky that wasn't dirt. I didn't want to know. I stepped outside, and the air was colder than it should have been. Too cold for October. No wind, no birds, no sound. Even my own footsteps felt muted. When I reached the tree, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. The bark had faces, not carvings. Faces, human outlines, stretched into the surface, like something had been screaming against it from the inside and got caught mid-suffocation. Mouths wide open, no eyes, just sunken pits and skin wrinkled, like it had been boiled and pressed into the trunk. I looked closer, and my stomach turned to concrete. One of the faces was Jaden's, mouth open, hollow, silent. His hand was sticking out of the side, limp, fingers crooked like he'd been clawing his way out. I dropped the shovel. I ran back inside. That's when I found the front door wide open. I know I closed it. I locked it. I even checked it twice. The playroom lights were on, and someone was sitting in the middle of the floor, back facing me, rocking gently. I couldn't move. I couldn't even blink. My legs just stopped working. But the thing in the room, it didn't feel human. It had skin, yeah, but the way it moved was wrong. It twitched between motions like someone fast-forwarding a VHS tape, head jerking every few seconds, shoulders too high, bones cracking with each rock back and forth like they were being rearranged mid-movement. I took one step forward, and the rocking stopped. Its head tilted, farther, too far, until it was looking at me, upside down. Its face, it had no skin, like someone had peeled it straight off with a razor, piece by piece. You could see the sinew, the muscle, the slick rawness of nerves, twitching like they were still trying to function. And the eyes, oh my God, the eyes, not human, not animal, not alive. They were black, with small flickers of static, like TV snow playing inside its pupils. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't want to know, but I saw it. I know I did. Then it spoke, not with words, but in my head. A voice, but not a voice, just raw information, like a USB of terror jammed into my brain. We never left. You buried the wrong one. You forgot what you did, but we didn't. It stood, 7 feet tall, maybe more. Its arms were too long. Fingers dragged across the floor and left trails in the dust, like worms in meat. Its legs bent backward, like they'd been broken on purpose and healed wrong, or never healed at all. It walked toward me, not ran, walked, because it knew I wasn't going anywhere. I backed up to the hallway, heart hammering so loud I thought it would burst. My hands found the banister, and I turned to run upstairs. But the moment I hit the second step, the light bulbs in the house burst all at once. Every single one. Pop, 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 pop. Glass rained from the ceiling. One shard sliced across my cheek. I didn't stop. I barricaded myself in one of the upstairs bedrooms. Didn't know whose. Didn't care. There were toys scattered on the floor. Crayon drawings on the walls again. Fresh ones. Still wet. And every drawing was of me. Laying in the dirt. Mouth full of soil. Eyes gone. Something tall and featureless behind me, with its hand down my throat, pulling out my voice. I couldn't scream. I couldn't even think. Then I heard the knocking. Tap, 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 from inside the closet. I almost lost control of everything. I grabbed a broken leg of a chair near the dresser and walked up to it, like I wasn't about to shatter into pieces. I opened the door. It was Tyler, but not Tyler. He was naked, covered in mud, eyes bloodshot, lips split down the middle, bleeding into his teeth. And he was smiling, not a human smile, something stretched and raw, like a corpse that had been sewn into a grin. His mouth opened, and he screamed. Not sound, static, deafening, high-pitched static that blasted through the room like it was tearing through dimensions. I blacked out. When I came to, I was outside, on my back, looking up at the tree. My hands were covered in blood, not mine, and beside me was a pile of something wrapped in plastic. A body bag, maybe. I didn't open it. I didn't want to know. But the tree was glowing brighter now, and from inside I could hear footsteps, heavy, wet, growing closer, and a whisper. You never left. You were always here. You just forgot what you buried. I stood up and backed away slowly. The tree bark began to crack down the middle, like something was pushing against it from inside. Something huge. Something old. Something wrong. And then I saw it. A second trunk, smaller, splitting from the base. Inside it, a mirror, but it wasn't showing my reflection. It was showing me, as a kid, covered in blood, smiling, holding that hammer. Jaden's voice behind me, laughing, Tyler filming, and a boy screaming, voice muffled, eyes begging, and me saying, "We'll never get caught. It's not real if we forget." And then, darkness. We find out who the boy really was. And trust me, when I came to, I was still outside, knees soaked from the damp soil, blood dried into the grooves of my knuckles. The sun hadn't risen, or maybe it had, and the light just doesn't reach this place anymore. The air around the house had changed. It was thicker, like breathing through a wet cloth soaked in iron and rot. The tree had stopped glowing. The heartbeat was gone. But now the second trunk, the one with the mirror, was wide open, split down the center like a birthing wound. The reflection of my younger self was gone, and something else was staring back at me. It wasn't human. It wore my face, but like it found it in a dumpster and stretched it over something else. The eyes didn't match. Too far apart, too dry. The mouth kept twitching upward into something that wanted to be a smile, but didn't know how. And behind that thing, I saw a room, not the woods, not the inside of the tree. A room, 4 walls, white tile, fluorescent lights flickering, a medical tray on the floor, a bed, and someone screaming. I don't remember walking. I don't remember touching the mirror, but suddenly I wasn't in the woods anymore. My feet hit tile, not grass, and I was in the room. It reeked of ammonia and old milk. There were flies, so many flies, thick clouds of them, buzzing in every corner, slamming into the ceiling lights, crawling across the walls, like the entire building was infested from the inside out. And the scream? It wasn't just one person. It was a loop. Someone had recorded it and was playing it on repeat. I found the speaker. a small rusted cassette player sitting in the middle of the floor. I shut it off, and I heard the real sound, breathing, from the bed. I turned slowly. What I saw should have sent me running through the walls, should have broken my brain into 1,000 pieces, but I just stood there. Number, the boy, the one we buried, was lying in that bed, still alive. At least, parts of him. His face was melted, not like fire, more like his skin had been dragged off and rearranged. One eye was swollen completely shut. The other was just a milky orb twitching in its socket. His lips had been sewn closed, thick black thread still straining against the flesh, like he was trying to scream through it every second of every day. His arms were gone from the elbows down, replaced with something else. Not prosthetics. Wood. Wooden limbs, fused to the bone. Splintered fingers, twitching like puppet strings, being pulled from beneath the mattress. I approached slowly. He didn't react at first. Just the sound of his breath. Wet, slow, a death rattle that never stopped. And then, he turned his head. It cracked when he did. Loud, like a frozen tree limb snapping in half. And then his eye locked on mine. I saw something in that one eye. Something not just broken, but ancient. Like the pain inside of him had reached such a deep, constant state that it became sentient. Something looked back at me, through him, and I remembered. Everything. We weren't just playing in the woods. We weren't just being dumb kids. We had found him. A kid from town. Loner. Weird. Didn't talk much. I think his name was Daniel. He showed us a weird dead bird once, and Jaden told him he was a freak. Tyler dared me to hit him with a stick. I did. He fell. Cried. We laughed. Then Tyler picked up a rock. Jaden grabbed duct tape from his backpack. For pranks, he said. And before I could blink, we were dragging this kid into the shed. It was my idea to pretend to bury him. It was Jaden's idea to record it. It was Tyler's idea to keep going. I remember his screams now. High-pitched, endless, like something from a snuff film they'd show in hell. We left him in a box, alive, taped shut, buried him near the tree, and we forgot, like cowards, like psychos. But now he was alive again, still in front of me, and I knew why the house brought us here, why the tree was growing. It was feeding off him, keeping him alive, and through him, it grew inside of us. The Polaroids, the dreams, the dates of death. They weren't prophecies, they were appointments, a schedule, one by one, payment for the life we stole. Suddenly, the room shook, the bed snapped in half, and Daniel, or whatever he had become, rose. His mouth tore open, the black thread splitting, snapping, until it sprayed blood down his chin, like something exploding from inside his throat. And he spoke, in a voice that wasn't his, wasn't even earthly. One for the roots, one for the bark, one for the fire, and one must remain. The floor beneath me began to rot, literally rot, tiles curling, mold spreading like veins of black tar. The walls began to pulse like living flesh, and from the corners came the sounds. Children crying, not in fear, in anger. Dozens, hundreds, all of them. Us, clones of me, of Jaden, of Tyler. Little kids, bleeding from their eyes, chanting, "We buried the wrong one. We buried the wrong one. We buried the wrong one." The walls cracked open. Behind them, roots, 3 roots, twisting, pulsing, wrapped in faces, still alive. Some crying, some laughing, some screaming with no sound. And from the center of the roots, a door. The same door we used to joke about as kids. The one in the back of the shed that never opened, except now it did. Daniel looked at me with his one eye and whispered, You opened it. Now close it from the other side. And before I could speak, the floor gave out. I fell. Down. Into the roots. Into the dark. I don't know how long I fell. There was no bottom, no air, no gravity. Just a weightless, spiraling descent into a hole that didn't feel like a place, but a memory we were never supposed to have. And then I landed. But it wasn't a floor. It was flesh. Not skin. Flesh. Wet, warm, pulsating meat, stretched across bone so large it groaned when I stood on it. I couldn't see the ceiling. Couldn't see the walls. Just an infinite red-black space with fibers twitching and twitching, like something was dreaming inside the body of hell itself. I moved forward. I don't know why. Maybe I was being pulled. Maybe I never had a choice. The deeper I walked, the more the ground changed. The flesh became faces, mouths, thousands of them, embedded into the floor, the walls, the ceiling, all frozen in silent screams. Some were decayed, teeth like shattered glass. Others were fresh, still blinking, still wet. And I recognized some. Jaden, Tyler, myself. Not just once, dozens of times, each version twisted differently. Younger, older, some crying, some smiling. And then I heard it. Footsteps, not behind me, below me. Something massive was moving in the roots underneath the flesh, dragging its bulk like a dying god, clawing its way back to the surface. Every step was a heartbeat. Every movement rattled the air. I broke into a run, but there's no running down here. Every footstep was like trying to sprint through molasses and meat. Every breath tasted like rust and fungus. And then I reached it. The door. The same one from the shed. Tall, crooked, ancient. But it wasn't wood anymore. It was made of bone, fused together. Child-sized femurs and ribs. Baby teeth nailed into the cracks. A handle shaped like a small hand. My hand. The exact size. I didn't want to touch it, but I did. And it opened. And what I saw behind it ended every idea I had about reality, or pain, or guilt, or hell. The original room, the one we tried to erase. White tile, flickering light, blood everywhere. And in the center, the boy, Daniel, but not the ruined husk from the bed. This was him before, whole, real, crying, eyes swollen, tape around his mouth, arms tied behind him, exactly how we left him. And standing around him was us, the younger versions, me, Jaden, Tyler, holding the hammer, holding the phone, smiling, laughing. I was watching the exact moment we erased. The true horror of it wasn't what we did. It was how happy we looked doing it. Tyler raised the hammer, and I heard it. The first crack, the sound that never left that shed. The sound the tree was born from. The sound the roots carry. I screamed at them. I charged. I tried to stop it, but they didn't see me. They kept laughing, and then they looked up. All of them, the kids, the younger me, and they all pointed at me in unison. And then I saw the worst part, the one that broke me beyond words. There was a fourth kid, one I didn't remember, one we never talked about, standing in the corner, filming, holding a camcorder with both hands, face blurred, tall, older, watching, guiding us. He stepped forward and handed something to young me, a piece of paper, and on it, "He doesn't deserve to leave. He'll forget, but you won't." And in that moment I realized we weren't the ringleaders. We were taught, conditioned. Whatever this thing was, this being that lives in the house, in the tree, in the dark, it was always there, feeding us guilt, feeding us violence, raising us like roots, so we could become part of it, forever. And then I was back, outside, in the yard. The tree had split down the center. The boy, Daniel, was gone. No body, no trace. Just that second trunk now, opened like a mouth. And from it, my friends began to emerge. Jaden, Tyler, except they weren't human anymore. Their faces, stretched, like clay over wire. Eyes missing, limbs bending wrong, and smiling so wide their skin cracked. Jaden stepped forward and spoke in that same static voice I heard in the house. We are the roots now, and so are you. The ground opened beneath me. Hands shot from the dirt. Hundreds, clawing my ankles, pulling, dragging, and I didn't fight. Because deep down, I knew I deserved it. This wasn't a haunting, it was a harvest, and I was always meant to come back. We all were. I woke up in my apartment this morning. Somehow, phone next to me. No blood, no dirt, just a journal on my chest. One new page. You close the door. But he's still in the roots. The tree is gone from the Google Maps pin. Blue Hollow doesn't show up anymore. Jaden and Tyler's socials have been wiped, like they never existed. But last night, I got a voicemail. It was just laughter, from a child, and in the background, the sound of a shovel, digging, and digging, and digging, and then the whisper, your date's coming, October 18th, the root remembers. If you find that house, don't go inside. Because if you remember it, it already remembers you. And if you don't, that just means it's not done feeding yet. I joined a red room on the dark web called the Circus. I caught something on my camera last night. It was trying to pretend as a cat. Okay. So I'm not really sure how to start this, but I know if I don't post it somewhere, I'm gonna lose my mind. I haven't slept in like 2 days. Every time I close my eyes, I feel like it's still watching me, from under the bed, or behind my closet door, or sometimes I swear it's right outside my window, just waiting. This all started because of a Discord invite, of all things. Let me back up a bit. I'm a 19-year-old guy living in a kind of boring part of Pennsylvania. Suburbs, dead malls, overpriced Starbucks. You get the idea. I work part-time at a local GameStop and spend way too much time online, like most people my age. I'm super into internet mysteries, creepy args, horror YouTube channels, stuff like Here's My Story, Nexpo, Gooseworks animations, and weird deep web iceberg videos. If there's a creepy thread on r/no sleep, or some sketchy Reddit post with a 144p video of something lurking in a McDonald's bathroom at 3 a.m., I'm watching it. So a few weeks ago, I joined this Discord server that focused on obscure ARGs and hidden web forums. The people there were all super into this one topic, something they called the Circus. I thought it was just a dumb name for an ARG or some indie horror game or whatever. They said it was real though, like real, not in a found footage horror kind of way, but something darker. I was skeptical at first, obviously, but then someone DM'd me a Tor link. No message, just the link. Against every bit of common sense I had left, I opened it. That's when I found the Circus. The site was so basic, it almost looked like a joke. White text on a black background, a loading spinner in the middle, and a message that said, "Welcome to the show. Are you the performer or the audience?" There were 2 buttons, join the show or watch from the crowd. I clicked watch from the crowd. Immediately, my screen flickered and a stream started. No buffer, no delay. It looked like grainy CCTV footage. A room, all white walls, padded, one camera in the corner. There was a person sitting in the middle of the room, back to the camera. They had this giant, cartoonish clown head on, like not a Halloween mask. Think oversized Chuck E. Cheese animatronic head, but dead-eyed and stained. They didn't move for a long time. Then, text scrolled across the bottom of the screen, almost like a Twitch stream. The show begins when the cat sings. What do you have? I watched for like 20 minutes. Nothing happened. Just this person in the clown head sitting there, breathing, occasionally twitching a bit. I clicked off. Figured it was just some edgy art project or live stream prank. But my webcam light turned on. I swear on everything, I didn't touch anything. I shut my laptop and went to bed that night, thinking maybe it was malware, or a bug, or whatever. But the next morning, I found a new folder on my desktop. It was called Meow. Inside was just one video. It was from my webcam. From that night, it showed me sleeping in bed, like the whole 8-hour recording, time-stamped and everything. Nothing looked weird until around 3:23 a.m. when the screen started glitching out a little bit. You know that effect when you have low-quality VHS footage and they're static, like someone's fast-forwarding. That started happening. Then something moved in the background. I paused it. There, behind my closet door, something was peeking out. At first, I thought it was my cat, Skippy. But Skippy's black and white, and this thing was wrong. It had a head that kinda looked like a cat, but it was too big, too round. The ears were stiff like cardboard, and the eyes were these huge, glassy buttons, almost like it was wearing a mascot costume or something. The body, though, was all bent, like its limbs were backwards. You ever see a human crawl, like they've dislocated every joint in their arms and legs? That's what it was doing. Slow, almost playful. It slithered out of the closet on all fours, paused at the edge of my bed, and tilted its head. Then the video just cut. The next frame was static, and then the words, "Meow, you're in the show now." I freaked the hell out, checked my closet. Nothing there. Locked every door and window in the apartment. Didn't go to work. Deleted the video. Or tried to. It wouldn't delete. I even wiped my laptop and reinstalled Windows. Still there. Still playing. And every night, a new video appears. Always titled, Meow. Always showing that thing getting closer to my bed. One time, it sat on my chest and stared directly into the webcam. I haven't slept since then, but it gets worse. Last night, I caught something in real time. I finally set up my old DSLR to record my room with night vision. I didn't even go to sleep. I just pretended to, laid under the covers with my phone recording too. Around 2:57 a.m., I heard a scratching sound near the door. I started recording. The door creaked open on its own. I could see something low to the ground crawl in. At first, I thought it was Skippy again, but no, it was it. That same fake cat thing, only this time, it stood up, on two legs. The cat head was cocked to the side, and it was wearing a red and white striped clown outfit, like a twisted circus ringmaster. Its hands, if you could call them that, were human, pale, dirty nails, long fingers. It waved at the camera, and then it spoke. In this distorted, high-pitched cartoon voice, it said, "Time to perform." The camera cut out. When I woke up, my cat was gone. Just his collar left behind, tied in a balloon knot. I know how old this sounds. Like a creepypasta, right? Some made-up horror story some dude wrote for clicks. I'd think the same thing. But if you're reading this, don't go looking for the circus. Don't click on random dark web links. Don't join any Discord servers that talk about the show. Because once you're in, you can't leave. And it's only just started. I didn't leave my apartment for 3 days after Skippy vanished. I kept thinking maybe I was losing it. Maybe I dreamed it. Maybe someone broke in and took my cat as a sick joke. But I couldn't shake that feeling, like I was being watched, even when I was alone, like there was always something just behind me. I didn't have the nerve to turn and see. It wasn't paranoia. It was like a presence was sinking into my skin. My apartment didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a stage. I unplugged every camera. I turned off my phone. I smashed the webcam on my laptop with a screwdriver and taped over it. I even threw out every mirror in the house. But every night, every single night, I would wake up to that voice. Time to perform. Not from a speaker, not from my phone, from somewhere inside the walls, from the pipes, from the F-King vents, like the entire building was whispering to me. The voice sounded less cartoonish now, more real, less playful, more hungry. The videos kept coming, even after I disconnected from the internet, even after I stopped using any devices. My old broken phone, no SIM card, no Wi-Fi, would light up at exactly 3:33 a.m. every single night and start playing grainy footage. Different angle, different view, always black and white, always of me. One video showed me brushing my teeth from behind, like someone was standing in the bathroom with me and I never noticed. Another showed me cooking ramen in the microwave, and I swear to God, for 5 full seconds, I can see a clown face reflected in the microwave door, right behind me. It smiles, then it disappears. I don't remember that happening, but the worst was the video from 2 nights ago. It started normal enough. Me sleeping. Room pitch dark. But then there's a moment where the camera zooms in by itself, like it's breathing. The focus locks on the corner of the room. There's something standing there, too tall to be a person. Its head scraped the ceiling. Its skin is baggy, sagging like wet fabric. It's wearing what looks like a stained, rotted circus uniform. The ruffles around its neck are soaking wet, dripping with something. Something dark. It doesn't move at first, just stands there. Then it raises one hand, not to wave, to point. And then I realized it wasn't pointing at me. It was pointing at my closet. Let me explain something. I live alone. There shouldn't be anything in that closet. But right then, as I'm staring at the screen, watching this night vision footage of myself sleeping, the video shifts into real time. The static clears, and I hear it. The closet door creaks open behind me. I didn't even think. I turned. Fast. My heart stopped. Nothing was there. But the smell. God, the smell. It hit me like a brick, like rotting meat left in the sun, like roadkill mixed with metal. I stumbled to the door and turned on every light in the apartment, every lamp, flashlight, oven light, everything. I pulled open the closet door. It was empty, except for a new folder on the floor. Yes, a physical folder, manila, handwritten across the front in red crayon, in a child's handwriting. Circus rules. Inside were printed screenshots, still images, black and white, all taken from hidden camera angles in my apartment. One from the vent in the bathroom, one from inside my fridge, one from under my bed, and one from inside my mouth. I know how that sounds. It doesn't even make sense. But I swear, there was an image of my uvula, my throat, lit with what looked like a penlight, like someone had taken a photo from inside me while I slept. I tasted metal for the rest of the day. My gums bled. My lips cracked. I couldn't stop gagging. That's when I realized I was bleeding from my ears. The bleeding stopped after about an hour, but something new started. People, strangers, began messaging me on social media. Not my real accounts, but ones I hadn't touched in years. My old deviant art, my MySpace. Even a Club Penguin email from 2009 somehow got activated again. The messages were all the same. We're watching you, performer number 108. The audience is growing. The cat likes you. Each message came with a video clip. Some were only a second long. Some several minutes. None of them made sense. There were children dancing in hallways with balloons for heads. A man screaming, while his teeth fell out one by one, then reappearing with a smile wider than his skull should allow. A Starbucks employee caught on a night cam, crawling on all fours under the espresso machine, mouthing words in reverse. I downloaded one of the clips and reversed the audio. It said, "Their faces are made of plastic, and the show can't end until the laughter dies." That night my doorbell rang. 2:16 a.m. I checked the peephole. No one there. But there was something left on the mat. A balloon, red, tied around a cat collar. Skippies. But the balloon wasn't helium. It didn't float. It throbbed, like a beating heart. I brought it inside and sliced it open. Inside was a piece of paper, soaking wet. On it was a Polaroid picture. It showed me, bound in red rope, sitting in a high chair on a stage, with blinding lights and an audience of faceless, mannequin-like people watching. My head was tilted to the side. My mouth was sewn shut. Behind me stood that thing again, the cat-masked clown, holding a knife. Then I flipped the photo over. It said, "This is the final act. Rehearse well." That's when I lost it. I tried to call the police. My phone didn't dial. I tried to email my friend Will. He's into cybersecurity and has dealt with hackers before. His reply came instantly. Only one sentence. "You shouldn't have watched the show." This morning, I found my bathroom mirror smeared in lipstick. I don't own lipstick. Written in that smeared red was, "You were always in the show. From the beginning." I haven't slept since. Every night, the cat gets closer. Every night, my body feels less like mine. And this morning, I woke up with red and white paint on my fingers. I didn't put it there. I looked in the mirror. There was glitter in my hair. And I swear, for just a moment, my reflection smiled without me. There are things your brain does when it's protecting you. Like when you see a car crash happen right in front of you and everything goes into slow motion. Your brain stretches the second to try and give you time to understand. But sometimes, when it can't understand, it just hides the memory, seals it up behind your eyes so you won't go insane from how wrong everything was. I wish my brain had done that for me last night. I remember waking up. I remember the taste in my mouth, like sugar and bleach. And I remember the sound of laughter, not human laughter, looping like a broken cassette tape. Too fast, too high-pitched, too happy to be real, like something trying way too hard to mimic joy. My bathroom mirror had been shattered, not broken, carved. Hundreds of scratches forming one phrase, over and over, scrawled in erratic zigzags with what looked like either glass or fingernails. Paint your smile on. Paint your smile on. Paint your smile on. Over and over until the words warped and bled into each other like they were screaming into the mirror's nerves. And on the floor, was a makeup kit, not mine. Inside was grease paint, a blood-red crayon lipstick, glitter-stained powder puffs, and a tube of white face cream. Old, rusty, smelled like mildew and pennies. Each tool was labeled with those same childlike letters from the circus folder, but this time etched directly into the product. Teeth, eyes, neck. Hide the frown. I backed away. There were footprints in the cream. Tiny barefoot prints, like a child's, only upside down, like someone had walked across the ceiling. I left the apartment for the first time in days. I couldn't breathe in there. The walls were too close. The shadows were curling around furniture like they were watching. I booked the cheapest room I could find at a roadside motel 20 minutes outside the city. Not even a real chain, just a forgotten old place by a gas station and a dead Waffle House. Room 106. When I checked in, the clerk looked at me too long. He didn't blink, didn't smile, just stared while sliding me the key. As I turned to leave, he said, "The red room's full tonight. Don't wander." My stomach dropped. I never mentioned the red room. I didn't reply. I just went to the room and bolted the door. Sat on the edge of the motel bed with my phone off, my laptop wrapped in tinfoil, my mirrors covered in towels. Still felt like I was being watched. At 3:33 a.m., there was a knock. 3 knocks. Then silence. Then a slide of paper slipped under the door. I waited 5 minutes before picking it up. It was a photograph. A live one. You know those weird electronic ones they put in novelty picture frames at Walgreens? Except this one moved like a video file. It was footage of me, asleep in the motel bed, but I was smiling. Too wide, painted red. Behind me stood the cat again, its head twitching like an animatronic short-circuiting, its mouth open but unmoving, as if it were screaming inside a foam prison. Its arms were raised like a puppeteer yanking strings. In the bottom corner, in bold circus font, "Now you're one of us." I blacked out after that. Not passed out, not fainted. Blacked out. There's a difference. When I came to, I was sitting in the bathtub, fully dressed, hands covered in something sticky, red and glittery. The makeup kit from the night before was scattered across the sink. There were words drawn on the wall, written in smears of lipstick and paint. They spelled out lyrics. "Round and round the tent we go. Who's the star? You'll never know. Smile wide and spin your head. Laugh and laugh until you're dead." I checked my phone, even though it had been powered off. It had 3 new photos. Each one was a selfie. Of me. But not me. In the first, my head was tilted at an impossible angle, like an owl's, but I was smiling like nothing was wrong. In the second, both my eyes were missing. Black holes, glistening sockets, but my smile was even wider. In the third, I was holding Skippy. Only Skippy's skin had been painted like a puppet, and he was smiling too. His mouth had been sewn into a grin. I dropped the phone and vomited into the tub. I tried to leave. I packed my bag, threw on a hoodie, and ran out of the motel. I didn't care where I went. I just needed to escape. But I didn't make it past the parking lot. Every direction I ran, I came back to the same spot. Room 106. Like the lot had looped into itself. Like I was inside a trap. I tried to run toward the road, but the streetlights started blinking in rhythm, like Morse code. I swear to God, I think they were blinking. Stay, smile, stay, smile. And in the distance, laughter from every direction. Not just human laughter, animalistic, wet, mechanical, like some sick recording of amusement park mascots being forced to laugh until their voices bled out. Then the music started. Circus music. Somewhere nearby, a calliope played on a warped vinyl loop. It kept skipping, just a little. Dun 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 skip. Dun 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 skip. And then a scream. I collapsed right there in the lot, hands over my ears. But the music just got louder. Then it spoke, through the music, through the lights, through the concrete itself. Act 3. Paint the town red. I woke up in the motel room. Again. But this time, my skin was different. Painted, cold, wax-like. I ran to the bathroom and tore the towel off the mirror. I didn't see my reflection. I saw a stage, and I was on it, smiling, bleeding, a spotlight hanging above me like a noose. And the audience? All those mannequins, their mouths wide open, no eyes, all wearing cat masks. They applauded without moving. I haven't been able to leave the motel since. Not because the doors are locked, but because the hallway changes every time I try. Sometimes it stretches for miles. Sometimes it twists like a spiral staircase that goes down when it should go up. And sometimes there are other doors, doors that are breathing. One door had a sign on it that said, "Do not enter unless you're ready to die laughing." I heard screaming behind it, screaming that eventually turned to laughter. Real, guttural, then wet, then choking, then silence. I walked past it, but the doorknob turned by itself. Now, every surface in my motel room has a reflection. The TV, the metal of the faucet, the lenses in my old glasses, and in every one I see something behind me. Not the cat, not anymore. Me, but not the me writing this. A version of me with no mouth, just a smeared red circle painted where lips should be. Skin pulled so tight it looks waxy, eyes glassy and wrong, and behind him, a stage curtain, breathing. I think I've been duplicated, copied. I think I've become part of the show. Last night I received a final note slipped under the door. Red envelope. Inside was a single card, embossed in gold. It read, "Tomorrow night is your main act. The audience can't wait. We've added an extra camera. Don't forget your smile." And on the back, performer number 108. Final curtain at 3:33 a.m. The clock just struck 3:25 a.m. I can hear them. The cat is scratching at the inside of the mirror, and I can hear the crowd warming up, laughing, cheering, screaming, clapping. The red lights just turned on. The show is about to begin. I don't think I'll be alive to write part 4, but maybe the other me will. He always smiles so wide. When the clock hit 3:33 a.m., the ceiling opened, not in a metaphorical way, not in a dream. The actual physical ceiling of motel room 106 peeled open like it was made of skin, not plaster. I didn't imagine it. I didn't hallucinate it. It folded back with a wet, sucking sound and exposed blackness. No sky, no stars, just an endless, yawning mouth of shadow. And out of it, they came down. Ropes, dozens of them, dripping with what looked like milk and blood, sliding down with puppet-like limbs attached at the ends. Not puppets, people, strung up like marionettes, their arms broken and looped through the ropes like joints in the wrong places. Their mouths were wide open, sewn into circles. Their eyes were scooped out. They twitched. Their bodies jerked in rhythm to distant, off-tempo circus music, echoing from somewhere that didn't have walls. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I was frozen. My body wouldn't move. My arms hung by my sides like dead weight, as if someone had tied invisible wires into my bones. One of the bodies spoke. It didn't use its mouth. Its mouth was still locked in that eternal O. Instead, its chest puffed out, and the voice came from its lungs. A distorted, giggling, high-pitched voice, like a child gargling water. Your act starts now, Performer 108. Let's make the audience laugh. The puppet convulsed. Its jaw snapped sideways, unhinged like a snake, and a projector slid out from its throat, already playing. The video was me, sitting on a spinning stool, duct tape across my mouth, my limbs twitching, a bright white light in my face, and then screaming, laughter, more screaming. I saw myself reach down and peel something off my own leg. At first, I thought it was cloth. Number, it was my skin. I ripped my own cough open in the video, but I didn't react. I just kept smiling. That's when I felt the needles, dozens of them, pushing into my skin all at once. Not medical needles. These were jagged, rusted things. Sewing needles, I think, and they were being pushed into me from underneath the bed, through the mattress, through the frame. They stitched my shirt to my chest, my hoodie to my back. The words, "Smile wide," were being embroidered into my body. I could feel the thread being pulled tight every time I inhaled. My skin tore like paper. There was no blood, just confetti, red and white. The puppet bodies above me started to laugh in sync. Their mouths still didn't move, but the laughter bled out of their chests like static. And then, a door opened in the wall. A glowing red door. Behind it, a stage, lit by floodlights, surrounded by darkness so dense it felt alive. I didn't walk toward it. I was pulled. Ropes shot out from the doorway, coiling around my wrists and ankles like snakes and dragging me across the room. My fingers scraped the motel carpet. I felt each fiberglass burn as I was yanked into the doorway. And suddenly, I was there, on stage, under lights, in front of them. The audience wasn't human. I knew that the second I looked out. Some of them were people once. I could see fragments of humanity in their forms. School uniforms, old business suits, wedding dresses stained with rot. But their faces were gone, removed, replaced with masks that looked painted on their flesh, as if someone had sewn cartoon smiles directly into their skin. They didn't move. They didn't blink. They stared, mouths stretched so wide their cheeks split open. Every time I tried to speak, a laugh track would play over me, a booming pre-recorded laugh that sounded warped, sped up, and slowed down at random, like a VHS tape left out in the rain. Then the voice came back, the ringmaster, but not a person, not an entity. It was the stage, the lights, the walls, the speakers, everything. It was the circus. Performer 108, entertain us, or be recycled. A screen dropped down behind me, and then a live feed of a room, my apartment, my living room, and inside it, my mom, tied to a chair, duct tape over her mouth, eyes wide open, and in the corner, the cat, sitting, tail flicking, but this time its mask had been peeled off. What was underneath wasn't even flesh. It was a blur, a violent, shifting smear of features, eyes and teeth appearing and disappearing like a stuttering video file trying to buffer in hell. And its hands, holding a remote, a big red cartoon button on the front labeled, "Laugh Now." The ringmaster's voice giggled again. "Make them laugh, or she dies." And the crowd leaned forward, all of them, at once, like meat puppets on invisible strings. So I did the only thing I could. I danced. I got up, legs shaking, chest bleeding, skin half-stitched to my clothes. And I danced. I slipped on the floor twice, cut my chin open. I think I broke a rib. Didn't matter. They started to clap. Then I began to sing. I don't even know the words. They weren't mine. They came out of me like bile. Something like, tear your face off, wear a grin, let the laughing game begin. Bite your tongue and paint your eye. Clowns don't scream, they only die. The audience lost it. Clapping, screaming, roaring. The cat on the screen pressed the button. My mum's eyes rolled back. A buzzing sound started, like a bone saw, and the stream cut to black. The audience exploded with applause, and in the roar, I heard one voice, louder than the rest, shrieking above the others. One of us! One of us! One of us! That was when the floor dropped. Literally. The entire stage collapsed, and I fell into darkness. Fell for what felt like hours. Down past faces carved into stone, past walls smeared with handprints and blood balloons, past a subway restaurant abandoned and rotting, with clowns frozen in booths like mannequins. And I landed in my apartment, right back where I started. But now everything's wrong. My fridge is full of teeth. My cat's collar is embedded in the wall like a tumor. My reflection waves at me when I don't move. And my phone? It buzzes every hour with messages that say, encore time. Don't disappoint the crowd. I haven't eaten. I haven't slept. I haven't cried. But my face, it's still smiling. I can't stop. My lips are starting to crack from the constant stretch. I tried to sew them shut last night. Thought if I couldn't smile, they'd stop watching. But when I looked in the mirror, they were already sewn, and I hadn't done it yet. The final video came an hour ago. It showed me on the street, walking towards someone who looked just like you. You were on your phone, listening to the story, reading it, laughing nervously, and then I reached out with a box, a gift. You took it. The camera zoomed in. The tag said, for the next performer. You opened it. Inside was a mask, red and white, painted smile, fur-covered ears. It's already in your hands, isn't it? There's no sound in here except for the scratching. Endless, constant scratching, like claws across concrete, nails dragging across teeth. I can't tell where it's coming from anymore. Beneath me, inside me, behind the walls that are too smooth to be drywall and too wet to be real. My mouth is bleeding again, not from injury, from smiling. Smiling so long that the muscles snap like guitar strings, and you keep going anyway because the audience hasn't stopped clapping yet. They never stop clapping, even when the hands fall off. I don't know what day it is. The clocks don't count time in hours anymore. They tick in screams. Every tick is a soundbite of someone dying, laughing, begging, and the walls are covered in posters now. Circus flyers, all of them with my face. Not my face now. Not this corpse shell I'm writing with. My real face. Before I entered, before I opened the folder, before I saw the cat, each poster is hand-drawn, with crayon, childlike, scratchy, and each one reads the same. Final act tonight. Live, The Death of a Smile. Starring performer number 108. Featuring special guest, you. You don't understand what that means yet, but you will. The cat doesn't come through screens anymore. It doesn't need to. It's in the air now, in the lights, in the space between seconds. I see its reflection in my pupils, even when I blink. It lives inside me, like a parasite, pursing its face out of mine, from beneath my skin, like wet tissue paper, trying to scream through a photograph. I don't speak. It does. I hear it in my own voice now, whispering through my throat, cracking the syllables with that circus lilt. The curtain falls when the performer breaks. So don't break. This is what happened after I left the motel. Because yes, I left. I woke up on the side of the road outside the city, but everything was wrong. My clothes were different, striped, colorful. My shoes were cartoonishly oversized. There were buttons stitched into my shirt where there were none before. A name tag pinned to my chest. Smiley. People stared when I passed, not because of the clothes, but because they recognized me. From the flyers, they were up everywhere, on poles, on buses, on digital billboards at Starbucks. Even the McDonald's drive-through screen glitched out and displayed my face mid-order before the voice on the speaker whispered, "Don't forget your ketchup, Smiley. You'll need it for the blood." I kept walking. The streets weren't right. I passed a playground where the kids weren't playing. They were standing perfectly still, heads tilted, watching the sky. A school bus drove by, with every window fogged, little handprints pressed to the glass from the inside. None of them wiped away. I ducked into a gas station to try and breathe, but the TVs inside were all tuned to the show. My show, and the man behind the counter. He was watching me on screen as I walked in. He looked up. His mouth was gone, just smooth flesh, stretched into a permanent smile. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He handed me a paper bag. Inside was a knife, carved into the blade. Use this to make them laugh or cry. It's all the same in the end. I left the gas station and ran. I didn't know where to go. My phone buzzed. It wasn't a call. It was a live notification. The circus is live now. Final performance, streaming worldwide. The thumbnail? My face. But it was wrong. The eyes were missing. The mouth was stitched shut. And the title, "Watch as Smiley finally breaks." I tried to kill myself. I don't know why I'm even typing this. Like it matters. Like confession will undo anything. But I tried. I used the knife from the bag. I went into an alley behind an old bowling alley. Sat down. Took the blade to my throat. I couldn't cut. Not because I was scared. Because the blade bent. Like rubber. It laughed. A high-pitched, squeaky balloon sound. Like a clown toy gasping for air. The alley filled with fog. Pink and thick and smelling like cotton candy and bleach. The cat stepped out of the smoke. No longer trying to look human. Its form shifted constantly. Like it was wearing the skin of everything it had ever killed. 1 second, it had my mom's face. Then Skippy's. Then mine. Then someone else's. Someone I haven't met yet. Its voice came from all around. We don't let the performers leave the stage. Ever. That's the first rule of the circus. And then it shoved something into my mouth. A memory card. A micro SD. I choked on it, retched, and coughed it up, blood coating my chin. The cat laughed again and vanished into the smoke. On the card. One video. It was your room. Right now, from the corner, where the shadows are the thickest. The video was from tomorrow night. Time-stamped 3:33 a.m. You're in bed. Your mouth is open, and the camera zooms in slowly. At first, you think you're sleeping, but then the head tilts, and you smile, even though your eyes are screaming. The last frame? The cat steps into view, and it's holding a mask, red and white, with your face painted on it. That's when I realized, this isn't a story. This isn't a show. This is an infection. The circus doesn't stream to viewers. It multiplies through them. Every eye on the video is a needle. Every like, every share, every comment, a stitch in a new performer's costume. You watched. You read. Now you're in the tent. You don't remember how you got here, but you do remember laughing at the first part, right? You thought it was just creepy fiction, just a fun scare. That's what I thought too. Now I can't tell where my skin ends and the smile begins. The final script appeared on my wall an hour ago, written in blood across my ceiling, in mirrored letters. The final act. You bring the laughter, they bring the tears. The audience is waiting. Your curtains are closed, but they can still see you. They're in the mirrors, the black parts of your screen, the hum in your lights. Don't look too long into any shadow that shouldn't be there. Don't answer if the phone rings at 3:33 a.m. And whatever you do, don't put the mask on, because if you do, you're not a reader anymore. You're the next act. The crowd has already seen me bleed. Now they want you. I ordered a journal from the dark web, and it describes things I will done in the future. I am terrified. Okay, so I'm not usually the kind of guy who posts stuff like this, but honestly, I don't even know where else to go. I can't tell the police. My friends think I'm just messing around. And my parents, yeah, they stopped listening after the second phone call. So, screw it. Maybe someone here on Reddit can help me understand what's happening to me. Let me backtrack a bit. So I'm 19, living just outside of Chicago. I'm a freshman at a community college, commuting from home, still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. My nights usually look like gaming with the boys, scrolling through TikTok way too late, and sometimes watching those creepy animated storytime YouTube channels like Here's My Story and that Mr. Nightmare dude. Anyway, about 2 months ago, I was on Discord with my friend Tyler, just shooting the shirt tea while watching some horror videos on YouTube. We stumbled across one of those videos titled something like, I bought a box from the deep web and it knew my name. Total clickbait, but of course, we watched it. And right at the end, Tyler jokes like, yo, what if we actually tried that? Now, I'm not an idiot. I've heard all the stories. You don't mess with the dark web. You stay in your lane, use normal Amazon, go to McDonald's like everyone else. Don't summon demons at 3 a.m., that kind of thing. But something about that night. Maybe I was bored. Maybe I just wanted to do something stupid. I don't know. So I did it. I didn't go full anonymous mask hacker mode or anything. I just used Tor, some basic VPN, and found a forum. It was sketchy as hell. The site looked like it was from 2004, black background with red text and names like Mercy Market and Echo Journals. Most of it was just weird items like haunted VHS tapes, organs, which I'm 95% sure were real, and mystery boxes. But then I found something different. It was a listing titled Chrono Journal, See Your Future Unfold. The picture was just a worn-out black notebook. Looked like something from Hot Topic in 2006. The description was vague. Each journal is personalized. It only writes for the buyer. First entry appears after one night. Journal knows all. I was half laughing at this point. It cost 0.03 Bitcoin, about $1,500 at the time. But luckily, there was a trial version for $80, and I had about that much saved from doing Grubhub deliveries. So, I bought it. 3 days later, I got a package. No return address. The box was weirdly damp, not soaked, but like it had that smell, like if you left a book in a locker at the pool. The journal was inside, wrapped in black paper, and under it was a note in plain typewriter font. Do not write in the journal. Just observe. It already knows. I swear on my life, I felt cold just touching it. Not metaphorical, ooh, scary cold. Literal cold. Like it had been sitting in a freezer. The cover was blank. Just soft black leather. Kinda sticky around the edges like it was old or used. I flipped through the pages. All were blank. I remember laughing to myself and tossing it on my desk. I even made a TikTok about it. One of those guys, I just bought a cursed object from the dark web, wish me luck type deals. Got like 12,000 views. A few people joked. Some said, burn it now. One guy said, you'll regret this more than your first tattoo. Which, respect, that was pretty funny. Anyway, that night I went to sleep like normal. Nothing weird. No nightmares. No ghosts in the hallway. Just me, my LED lights on purple mode, and my cat Luna passed out on my laundry pile. But the next morning, the journal had changed. It was open. Not only was it open, but there was writing inside, in my handwriting, and I promise you, I didn't write it. It said, Monday, 7:42 p.m. You will see her for the last time. Her hoodie will be red. Her mouth will twitch. You'll feel the same cold from this very page. At first, I thought maybe Tyler broke into my house, or I'd walked, or this was some kind of delayed ink trick. I checked everything. My window was locked. My door hadn't moved all night, and the pen I kept next to the journal, unused. I was unsettled, sure, but I tried to push it out of my mind. Just bad vibes, right? That night, I met up with my ex, Jenna, for the first time in like 6 months. She wanted to catch up, whatever that means. We met at a Starbucks near downtown, River North area. She was wearing a red hoodie. When I saw her smile, it twitched, just like the journal said. I literally froze. I tried to brush it off, but the entire conversation felt off. Not dramatic or emotional, just off. She kept fidgeting. Her eyes darted around the room like she was waiting for someone else to show up. Her leg bounced under the table like she was listening to music, but she wasn't. And then randomly, she got up and said, I should go. I'm not supposed to be here. Didn't even say bye. Just left. And when I stood up to follow her out, like just to say, hey, what's wrong? I felt it again. That same cold from the journal. It wasn't coming from outside. It wasn't the AC. It was like the air around me shifted, dense, heavy, like someone was whispering into my bones. That's when I knew this wasn't just a prank. This wasn't some Reddit RRG or influencer box. This was real. And when I got home, the next page of the journal had already written itself. Tuesday, 2:33 a.m. There will be knocking. Do not answer. The thing at your door is not your friend. I haven't slept since. And that knocking, yeah, it started last night. At exactly 2:33 a.m., the sound came. It wasn't a regular knock, not the kind your friend does when they forget their keys, not a package delivery, not even that kind of soft knock your mom does when she's trying not to wake you up. Number. This was wrong. It was slow, measured. 3 knocks, spaced out too far, like someone wasn't just knocking, but thinking between each one. Knock, knock, knock. It didn't even come from the front door. It was coming from the side of my house, from the window by my desk, the one that faces the alley. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just sat there on my bed, staring at the shadows across the room as my ceiling fan squeaked like it was being choked by the air. The journal was still on my desk, open, with the page glowing faintly under the LED lights I forgot to turn off. The words were bolder now, like they'd been traced over in thicker ink. Do not answer. But I didn't have to. It answered itself. Because then, right after the third knock, something scraped against the glass. Not claws, not a key. Something soft, like the sound of someone slowly dragging their tongue across the window. And then it said my name. Not yelled it, not whispered it. Said it, like someone just standing outside my window in the dead of night, calmly saying, Ethan, just once. Casual, like it had known me for years, like we'd played Fortnite together, like we'd gone to high school and shared snacks, like it wasn't a thing with a rotting voice saying my name through cracked lips and mucus in its throat. I didn't move. My heart wasn't just beating, it was stuttering. You know that feeling when you're so scared you forget how to blink? I was stuck like that. I could feel the space between the knocks, like time was warping around me. And then came the second voice. This one was from inside the room. It said, You shouldn't have looked. And my light turned off. Complete darkness. I lost it. I fumbled across my bed, tripped over the damn Xbox controller on the floor, slammed my leg into the nightstand, and somehow scrambled under the bed like I was 5 years old again, hiding from monsters. My phone was upstairs charging. My mom and dad were asleep. My cat Luna, gone. She wasn't in the room. But the worst part, there were footsteps now. From above me, not in the attic, directly above me. My bedroom is in the basement, and the ceiling is unfinished. Just those wooden beams and insulation with wires hanging loose. You can hear everything, and I heard it. Bare feet, stepping slowly. 1 step, address A, time, back and forth, pacing, like it was thinking, like it didn't need to find me. It already knew where I was. It walked for what felt like 10 minutes. Then, it stopped, right above me, and it bent down. I heard the wood creak. I swear to you, I felt dust fall on my shoulder, like it was pressing its face against the floorboards, watching me through the cracks. Then it whispered, This isn't tomorrow's page. It's just a preview. I don't know how long I stayed under the bed. An hour, 2. I must have blacked out from fear. When I woke up, it was morning. The lights were back on. No footprints, no scratches, no tongue streaks on the window. But my cat was still gone. I checked every room, every shelf, closet, under every piece of furniture. Nothing. And then I found her. In the fridge. Dead. Frozen solid. Her eyes wide open. Mouth open in a silent scream, like she'd been stuffed in there alive. The same sticky black leather from the journal was glued to her back. There was writing on it. 1 word. Next. I wish I could say that was the worst part, but I haven't even gotten to Tuesday night yet. The next journal page appeared around 5:40 p.m. while I was trying to breathe through a panic attack and scrolling through our Creepypasta for some kind of explanation. The page said, Tuesday, 11:16 p.m. The man in yellow will show you how you die. Watch his eyes. Don't blink. Don't talk. Just listen. If you interrupt, you'll speed it up. I didn't want to believe it. I really didn't. But something about it. You know when you read something and your stomach just drops? That kind of feeling, like your body already knows it's true before your brain catches up. I kept every light on in the house, slept with the TV blaring in the background, Modern Family, reruns on Hulu, just trying to drown out the silence. I even took a picture of the journal and posted it on Snapchat with the caption, If I die, this book did it LOL. It got 20 views, 2 laughing emojis. One girl said, Haunted core, and that was it. Nobody understood. 11:16 p.m. came, and I swear to God, the doorbell rang. My ring cam didn't go off. My phone didn't buzz, but the sound was real. The bell rang 3 times. I walked slowly up the stairs, heart jackhammering in my chest, holding the biggest kitchen knife I had. I peeked through the peephole. There was a man standing outside. He was wearing a full yellow raincoat, even though it hadn't rained in days. The coat was clean, like surgically clean. No mud, no water, no creases. His hands were pressed neatly to his sides, and his head was tilted back, like he was staring directly at the sky. But I could feel his eyes on me through the door. Then he slowly tilted his head down until he was looking straight at the peephole, and smiled. It wasn't a normal smile. It twitched, like his lips were being pulled back by strings. His teeth were too white, too even, like mannequin teeth or something a dentist would glue into a display jaw. And then he reached up and held something up to the peephole. It was a photo of me, sleeping, from that night, in my room. Same hoodie, same blanket. The timestamp in the bottom corner read 2:34 a.m., 1 minute after the knocking. I fell backward, dropped the knife. It clattered against the tile like a scream. When I looked back, the man was gone. No footsteps, no sounds, nothing. But the photo was inside the house now, sitting on the floor beneath the door. On the back, written in blood-red ink, "I already told you. You shouldn't have looked. It's 3 a.m. now. I haven't slept in 36 hours. The journal keeps flipping pages on its own. Each one is close to the present. The entries now say things like 4:12 a.m. screaming. Yours. 4:13 a.m. the jaw breaks. 4:14 a.m. the basement floor becomes the roof. You fall upwards. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know if I'm hallucinating. I don't know if this is some messed up RRG and I'm just the unlucky idiot who signed up without realizing it. But then again, the last entry now says, this story will be read by over 300,000 people. Some of them will look for the journal. It will find them too. The journal is writing faster than I can read. The pages aren't turning anymore. They're flickering, like someone is flipping through 1,000 pages in a second, but only stopping when I blink. Every time I close my eyes, there's a new entry, new handwriting, new rules, new horrors that shouldn't exist in this reality. And now, the journal isn't just predicting things anymore. It's commanding them. Wednesday morning, 6:13 a.m. I hadn't slept. I was too afraid of what I'd see. The journal had already predicted the minute I'd break, said I'd cry for my mum at 5:47 a.m., said I'd try to run at 6:02, said I'd trip over the broken jawbone on the stairs. I didn't know what that meant until I saw Luna's remains. Her body was gone from the fridge. Instead, her jawbone was at the bottom of the basement stairs, completely clean, like it had been boiled. There was a small photo tucked into the bone, like it was a napkin holder. It was a photo of my dad, naked, tied to a chair, in our garage. His eyes were cut out, and worse, he was smiling in the photo, just like the man in yellow. I ran upstairs so fast, I almost knocked myself out, slammed open the door to the garage, screaming his name, losing all sense of reality. But the garage was empty. No blood, no rope. Just a fresh page from the journal, duct taped to the wall like a note in a horror escape room. Don't worry, he's not dead. Yet. Your entry is being written now. You're the ink. That's when the real psychosis started. I know how that sounds. Like Oh, here we go. The crazy starts now. But I swear to you, this isn't some "I took shrooms by mistake" thing. This was a kind of mental deterioration I felt in my bones. It wasn't just paranoia. It was like the journal was inside my nervous system, like it had hijacked my senses. Everything was flickering. My reflection in the microwave didn't match my movements. My phone screen would light up with texts from people who didn't exist. TikTok live feeds of people screaming, drowning in black water, begging for help. I tried to call Tyler, but the contact in my phone, gone. His number had been replaced with a name I didn't recognize. Entry 18B. I tapped it anyway. Someone answered instantly. Not a ring, not a dial tone, just the sound of breathing. Then a voice, feminine, soft, but glitching, like a voicemail from hell. He was rewritten. You saw too much. You shouldn't have read ahead. I hung up, threw the phone. It shattered, slept with the TV blaring in the background. Modern Family, reruns on Hulu, just trying to drown out the silence. I even took a picture of the journal and posted it on Snapchat with the caption, "If I die, this book did it, LOL." It got 20 views, 2 laughing emojis. One girl said, "Haunted core," and that was it. Nobody understood. 11:16 p.m. came, and I swear to God, the doorbell rang. My ring cam didn't go off. My phone didn't buzz, but the sound was real. The bell rang 3 times. I walked slowly up the stairs, heart jackhammering in my chest, holding the biggest kitchen knife I had. I peeked through the peephole. There was a man standing outside. He was wearing a full yellow raincoat, even though it hadn't rained in days. The coat was clean, like surgically clean. No mud, no water, no creases. His hands were pressed neatly to his sides, and his head was tilted back, like he was staring directly at the sky. But I could feel his eyes on me through the door. Then he slowly tilted his head down until he was looking straight at the peephole, and smiled. It wasn't a normal smile. It twitched, like his lips were being pulled back by strings. His teeth were too white, too even, like mannequin teeth or something a dentist would glue into a display jaw. And then he reached up and held something up to the peephole. It was a photo of me, sleeping, from that night, in my room. Same hoodie, same blanket. The timestamp in the bottom corner read 2:34 a.m., 1 minute after the knocking. I fell backward, dropped the knife. It clattered against the tile like a scream. When I looked back, the man was gone. No footsteps, no sounds, nothing. But the photo was inside the house now, sitting on the floor beneath the door. On the back, written in blood-red ink, "I already told you. You shouldn't have looked. It's 3 a.m. now. I haven't slept in 36 hours. The journal keeps flipping pages on its own. Each one is close to the present. The entries now say things like 4:12 a.m. screaming. Yours. 4:13 a.m. The jaw breaks. 4:14 a.m. The basement floor becomes the roof. You fall upwards. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know if I'm hallucinating. I don't know if this is some messed up RRG and I'm just the unlucky idiot who signed up without realizing it. But then again, the last entry now says, "This story will be read by over 300,000 people. Some of them will look for the journal. It will find them too. The journal is writing faster than I can read. The pages aren't turning anymore. They're flickering, like someone is flipping through 1,000 pages in a second, but only stopping when I blink. Every time I close my eyes, there's a new entry, new handwriting, new rules, new horrors that shouldn't exist. in this reality. And now, the journal isn't just predicting things anymore. It's commanding them. Wednesday morning, 6:13 a.m. I hadn't slept. I was too afraid of what I'd see. The journal had already predicted the minute I'd break. Said I'd cry for my mum at 5:47 a.m. Said I'd try to run at 6:02. Said I'd trip over the broken jawbone on the stairs. I didn't know what that meant until I saw Luna's remains. Her body was gone from the fridge. Instead, her jawbone was at the bottom of the basement stairs, completely clean, like it had been boiled. There was a small photo tucked into the bone, like it was a napkin holder. It was a photo of my dad, naked, tied to a chair, in our garage. His eyes were cut out. And worse, he was smiling in the photo, just like the man in yellow. I ran upstairs so fast, I almost knocked myself out. Slammed open the door to the garage, screaming his name, losing all sense of reality. But the garage was empty. No blood, no rope. Just a fresh page from the journal, duct taped to the wall, like a note in a horror escape room. Don't worry, he's not dead. Yet. Your entry is being written now. You're the ink. That's when the real psychosis started. I know how that sounds. Like, oh, here we go. The crazy starts now. But I swear to you, this isn't some I took shrooms by mistake thing. This was a kind of mental deterioration I felt in my bones. It wasn't just paranoia. It was like the journal was inside my nervous system. Like it had hijacked my senses. Everything was flickering. My reflection in the microwave didn't match my movements. My phone screen would light up with text from people who didn't exist. TikTok live feeds of people screaming, drowning in black water, begging for help. I tried to call Tyler, but the contact in my phone, gone. His number had been replaced with a name I didn't recognize. Entry 18B. I tapped it anyway. Someone answered instantly. Not a ring, not a dial tone, just the sound of breathing. Then a voice, feminine, soft, but glitching, like a voicemail from hell. He was rewritten. You saw too much. You shouldn't have read ahead. I hung up, threw the phone. It shattered. That's when I realized something was burning. I ran back into my room. The journal was on my desk, on fire, but not like normal fire. It wasn't consuming the pages. It was growing out of them. Thick, slow black flames like tar, curling around the edges, but not destroying anything, just warping it. The fire made sounds, not crackling, screaming, not human screaming, animal, like 100 cats being skinned alive. And behind the screams, laughter, my laughter. I tried to put the fire out. I grabbed a towel, tried to smother it, but my hands went right through it. The flames weren't hot. They were cold. So cold, my fingertips turned purple instantly, skin cracking open like I'd just shoved them in dry ice. Blood ran down my wrists like red ink, soaking into the carpet. And then the journal flipped itself. New page, new ink, this time in thick, jagged red. Not pen, not marker. Something worse. It said, entry complete. Chapter 2 begins at Mom's job. Kill her by 3:33 p.m. or she takes your place. I sat there for an hour, frozen. The journal didn't move again. It just stayed on that page, waiting. I kept rereading the words like I'd misread them, like maybe kill meant something else, like this was all still some long-form prank or hidden camera show or test. But it wasn't, because at 3:01 p.m. I got a notification. My mom posted a photo on Facebook, first one in months, just her at work. She's a nurse at a psych hospital in Joliet, smiling in her scrubs. But the caption, 3:33 p.m. I'm ready. I hadn't told her anything. No one knew what was happening, but the journal knew her password. I got in my car and drove. I wasn't thinking anymore. My hands were just moving. My heart was numb. I don't remember the trip, just arriving at the hospital, getting buzzed in, and hearing the static. The whole hospital had no power. The lights were dim. Emergency red bulbs glowing in the halls like I was inside a stomach. No staff, no patients, just a distant humming noise from every direction, like there was something big breathing inside the walls. And then I found her. She was sitting in a wheelchair at the end of the hallway, smiling, not moving, just sitting in the red glow like a wax figure. Her eyes were wide open, too wide, like they'd been pinned back, and in her lap was the journal, open to my page. The top said, Ethan, entry, 19C, matricide, timestamp locked. I walked toward her. Each step sounded like I was walking on wet meat. My shoes were soaked with something. The walls were pulsing, breathing. When I was 3 feet away from her, she said, perfectly calmly, "It'll burn you either way, honey. Just make it quick." She lifted her shirt. There was a kitchen knife taped to her stomach, handle pointed out, ready for me to grab. And beneath that, a second journal, identical, except this one was titled, Your Son's Future. I ran, sprinted out of the hospital, left her screaming behind me, not from pain, but laughter. Her voice echoed through the entire building, like the walls were enjoying it. I didn't stop until I got home, but the door to my house was wide open. There were photos taped to the walls now, hundreds, maybe thousands, all of me, different versions, me as a kid, me at school, me in the shower, me sleeping, me standing in the garage holding the knife, me smiling like the man in yellow, and scrawled in massive red letters across the ceiling, the floor, the windows, even on the TV screen. You are the entry now. I don't know who's writing this anymore. I don't know if I am. I just checked the journal again. It flipped on its own. The next page says, the readers start to hear him too. The journal changed again. It doesn't just sit on my desk anymore. It moves. I'll turn around for a second and it's closer. Open, waiting. Sometimes I'll blink and it'll be under my pillow, on the toilet tank, inside my microwave, with the door sealed shut. Yesterday, I opened my eyes and it was sitting on my chest, pages flapping like they were breathing. I don't even try to throw it away now. I did once. I lit it on fire in the backyard, poured gasoline over it, and watched it burn. It screamed. That's right. The journal screamed. A deep, wet animal howl that cracked the sky and made birds fall out of trees. When the flames cleared, the ashes spelled out one sentence on the grass. You're next to write. I didn't understand what that meant until I opened my TikTok notifications. I had a new follower. No username. Just a black circle for a profile picture. And the bio said, the journal .knows. The account had one video, a 3-second clip, of me, sitting at my desk, typing this, right now, in the shirt I'm wearing now, with the same mug of coffee, same crack on my laptop screen. The video ended with a single frame of your face. Yeah, yours. Don't bother checking. By the time you open the app, the video's already gone. It always deletes itself, but the journal doesn't. It knows you're here, and it just wrote your name on the next page. Right now, in real time, a new entry just burned itself onto the page. Entry 20. A. The reader Initiated. They've read too much. They've looked too long. He is watching through their screen. This is the part I can't explain without sounding insane. But you need to know. There's a man who lives between the words. I know that doesn't make sense. But when you read the journal long enough, you start seeing him. Not in your room, not behind you, in the text itself. His figure is hidden between the letters, twisted like he's curled inside the margins. Sometimes, if you look too hard at a sentence, he'll blink, or twitch, or smile back at you. That's why I stopped reading the entries out loud, because last time I did, he crawled out. It was 2:42 a.m. I was reading an entry that described a girl named Maya, who apparently got her own trial version of the journal from the dark web. It said she refused to believe any of it, called it a scam, burned it, mocked it online, said, and I quote, "What's it gonna do? Show up at my front door?" She live-streamed it. I watched the VOD. I wish I hadn't. In the last 10 minutes of the stream, her Wi-Fi cut out, but the camera kept rolling. She turned toward the door as if hearing something, and then she started sobbing. The last thing she said before the screen went black was, "There's something inside the wall." 2 days later, her account posted a picture, just a blank black square. The caption, "She's in the journal now." Her username changed to entry 17A. Her profile pic is a warped version of her own face, smiling, but the eyes are missing. Just hollow sockets filled with white text. The words read, "Your turn." I started hearing knocking on my screen after that. I don't mean notifications, I mean literal knocking from inside the display, like someone tapping glass. 3 slow knocks, then silence, then again, louder. I turned off my monitor, unplugged everything. Didn't matter. The knocking continued. At one point, I smashed the screen. Thought it'd stop. It didn't. Now the knocking comes from mirrors, from screenshots, even from my own thoughts. You want disturbing? You want brutal? Fine. Let me tell you what I found in my bathtub this morning. My own tongue, still wet, still warm, the exact color and shape of mine. Even had that tiny scar I got from biting it during a seizure in 9th grade. Wrapped around it was another page, soaked in black bile, barely readable, but I made it out. If you won't stop talking, we'll take what makes you speak. I ran to the mirror, opened my mouth. My tongue was still there, but the taste, burning, like chewing on battery acid. It hasn't stopped. Not even water helps. Not even bleach. Yes, I tried. I'm that far gone. The journal punishes curiosity, and it hates being doubted. The latest entry was different. Not about me. Not about anyone I know. It just said, Entry 21, to be written by them. Below it was a blank space, with a line, for a name. Your name. You probably feel sick right now. A little dizzy. Maybe your screen flickered just a second ago. Maybe you thought someone called your name behind you. Maybe your dog or cat just stared into the hallway and didn't blink for way too long. That's normal. It's how he marks you. Through fear, through attention. The more you notice him, the closer he gets. And once he has your name, you don't just read the entries, you start writing them. Because that's the final stage. Not death, not madness, authorship. The journal isn't a book. It's a virus that turns victims into authors. It infects people who read too far. People like you. People who just had to know what happened next. People who ignored the warnings and scrolled anyway. Each story is a seed. Each view is a signature. The more you read, the more you feed it. I tried to destroy it again today. I didn't just burn it. I smashed it in a car compactor, paid a guy off Craigslist to crush it in a metal recycling yard out near Gary, Indiana. He laughed, said, "You writing a horror movie or something?" By the time I got back home, it was waiting on my bed, open, with a photo of the guy I paid. He's in the journal now too. Caption underneath his picture said, "Smiled, screamed, bent backwards, entry complete." The final message, just burned into the back page. Now they write the next part. They will post it. They will spread me. So here we are. And you? You finished it. You're already marked. Don't believe me? Close this. Check your phone in 10 minutes. There'll be a photo waiting for you. Of you. Reading this. With your own name written beneath your eyes. To be continued in part 5. Would you like the final part, where the journal begins to manifest outside of the story and forces the reader to make a choice? I don't sleep anymore. Not because I'm afraid of dreams, because I'm afraid of what's awake. Because every time I close my eyes now, something waits there. Not a nightmare, not a person, an awareness, a thing without a shape, but with a direction. And that direction is always toward me. The journal is no longer an object. It's a place, a location in the mind, a virus that unfolds like a map. And every time you turn a page, you move deeper into it. And once you've entered, you can't go back. You're not just reading now. You're inside it. You're part of it. When I woke up yesterday, there was a brand on my skin, on my chest, right over my heart, burned into me like it had been etched with a branding iron. A symbol I didn't recognize. 4 vertical lines crossed by 1 sharp slash, like tally marks. It bled black for hours. I tried to record a video, tried to make a YouTube story time out of it, like one of those horror animation guys. I thought, if I explain this like Luna would, maybe I can laugh. Maybe it'll feel fake. Maybe I'll wake up. But when I pressed record, my camera didn't show me. It showed you, sitting there, reading this, in your room, now, and behind you, just for a second, so fast you'd miss it if you blinked. I saw him, the man, between the pages. He's not human. He's not even alive in the way we understand it. He's a reflection that learned how to survive after the surface was broken. A parasite that infected ideas, that eats belief like oxygen. The more you acknowledge him, the more you remember him, the more real he becomes. That's why the journal spreads. It doesn't care about story. It only cares about entry. And now the final entry needs a signature. It gave me a choice last night. I didn't hear it. It wasn't a voice. It was a thought planted in the root of my brain. A foreign idea wearing my voice like a mask. And the message was this: choose your replacement or be rewritten. I didn't understand what that meant until my walls began to bleed. Yes, my walls, not metaphorically. Literal black ooze started leaking from the corners of my room, thick and slow like syrup. It reeked of iron and burnt plastic and static electricity. And in the slime, faces began to form. Dozens of them. Some were mine. Versions of me from alternate timelines, I think. Others were strangers, screaming, melting, cracking open like overripe fruit. Each one begging with their eyes. Their mouths didn't move, but I could hear their thoughts. Don't let it write me. Please. I still remember who I was. It took my kids first. It used my bones as the spine of the book. And then, in the middle of the chaos, I saw a name burn itself across my wall. Your name. If you don't think that's possible, check your room right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. You won't see it, but you'll feel it. That crawling cold behind your eyes, that pressure behind your ears, that sensation of being watched through the pixels of your screen. That's the mark being etched. You're in the journal now. You've become a page. Here's how I know I'm not insane. Because the moment your name appeared, my mark faded. The brand on my chest peeled off like dried wax and dropped to the floor. I'm free, but that means you're not. The ink has moved. It needs new entries, new lives, new endings. And you know what's funny? The journal doesn't need paper anymore. It uses screens now. Comments, text boxes, forums, DMS, emails, Google Docs, anywhere someone leaves their thoughts behind. And guess what? You've already started writing. Right now, in your head, you're thinking, this is fake. This is just a story. But that's the first line of denial. That's the first sentence of your entry. It always starts the same. I didn't believe it at first, but soon you'll see things too. It'll start small. Your phone will vibrate, but no one will have messaged you. You'll hear your voice repeating words you didn't say. You'll find photos on your camera roll you didn't take. And then, one night, maybe weeks from now, maybe tomorrow, your screen will flicker, and you'll see a version of yourself that doesn't blink, and it'll smile with too many teeth, and it'll whisper, you're almost done writing. Because here's the twist. Here's the final horror. The journal was never a product, never a cursed object, never even a book. It's a trapdoor, a living archive of trauma that needs fresh ink to stay alive. And the way it grows is through belief. The more people read it, the more people fear it, the more people spread it. Even just by saying the name, the deeper it writes into the world. And now, it's your turn. You'll try to forget this. You'll go to sleep with your back to the door. You'll try to laugh it off. Maybe you'll even send this to a friend and say, bro, this story is wild LOL. But in doing so, you've passed it on. You've written the next page. The journal has you now. And it ends like the